Why does gender liberation matter in today's society? Why does it hold such high importance? These are questions that often echo in the chambers of human thoughts and discussions. The essence of gender liberation lies in the heart of personal identity, human rights, and social justice. It's a path to a society where everyone, regardless of their gender identity, can live without fear, discrimination, or violence. The history of gender liberation is a rich tapestry woven with threads of courage, resilience, and revolution. It traces back to the late 19th and early 20th century, when women began asserting their rights for suffrage, education, and employment. This was the first wave of feminism, a significant leap towards gender liberation. As the years rolled on, the second wave of feminism emerged in the mid-20th century, broadening the conversation to include sexuality, family, and reproductive rights. This wave was marked by the sexual revolution and the fight for legal and social equality. The third wave of feminism in the late 20th century further diversified the discourse by incorporating intersectionality. This wave acknowledged and fought against the multiple layers of oppression that women of color, queer women, and trans women face. The current wave of feminism is a continuum of the third, striving for the liberation of all genders, not just women. It challenges the binary perception of gender, advocating for the recognition and rights of non-binary, genderqueer, and transgender individuals. The journey of gender liberation is far from over. It is an ongoing struggle against patriarchal norms, systemic oppression, and societal stereotypes. The importance of gender liberation lies in its potential to create a world where everyone can live authentically, freely, and equally, regardless of their gender identity. In summary, gender liberation has evolved from the fight for women's rights to a broader struggle for the recognition and rights of all genders. It challenges the binary perception of gender and fights against systemic oppression and societal stereotypes. Its importance lies in its potential to create a world where everyone can live authentically, freely, and equally, regardless of their gender identity. Remember, the fight for gender liberation is not just for the oppressed, but for everyone. It's about building a society where all of us, regardless of our gender identity, can thrive. The liberation of one is tied to the liberation of all. That's why gender liberation matters in today's society and why it holds such high importance.
Imagine living in a world where you're 78% more likely to experience physical violence simply because of your gender identity. A world where nearly half of all transgender people have attempted suicide. These sobering statistics are the reality for many trans people in our society today. Now, picture a world where gender liberation is a reality, where everyone has the freedom to express their identity without fear of discrimination or violence. That's the world we want to create. That's the world we fight for every day. One person leading the charge is Ria Tobacco Mar, director of the Women's Rights Project. In an interview, she passionately stated, "None of these ills, however, is the subject of so-called Women's Bill of Rights laws being introduced in a growing list of states. Instead, this legislation would create a legal definition of womanhood based on the capacity to produce ova, or human eggs. This definition of woman, which is gerrymandered to exclude trans women and girls, could make it impossible for trans people to live openly at work, at school, or anywhere in the states they call home." This is a stark reminder that the fight for gender liberation is far from over. It's a wake-up call for all of us who believe in equality and justice. As Mar points out, limiting freedom for trans people worsens conditions for all women by re-entrenching the very gender stereotypes that have underpinned centuries of women's oppression. We need to reject efforts to appropriate the rhetoric of women's rights to inflict harm on trans people. In the words of renowned activist and author Julia Serrano, "Transgender people's struggle is a women's struggle." All of us have a stake in creating a world where people are valued for who they are, not the gender they were assigned at birth. So what can we do? How can we support gender liberation and help create a world where everyone is valued for who they are? First, educate yourself and others about the struggles faced by trans people. Listen to their stories, amplify their voices, and stand up against discrimination and violence. Second, support organizations that are working towards gender liberation, like the ACLU's Women's Rights Project. Donate, volunteer, or use your platform to raise awareness about their work. Finally, challenge the gender stereotypes and biases that persist in our society. Question the norms, break the barriers, and celebrate diversity in all its forms. Together, we can create a world where everyone is free to be themselves. A world where gender liberation is a reality. This is the world we want, the world we need, the world we deserve. The fight for gender liberation is a fight for us all. Stand up, speak out, and let's make a change.